Thank you for joining us here on the Thaiger as we're doing a series with Ben Hart from Integrity Legal about legal and visa matters, things that you're always asking us about. I'm sure they ask your office too, Ben.
They do.
Let's have a talk about long-term visas for people that want to stay in Thailand for a long time. A lot of people come here on a short holiday. They think, oh, life's pretty good here. I might have got some retirement money, or I'm young and I've made lots of money on Bitcoin, or I'm trading every day and I just want to enjoy the sunshine. What options are there for people that want to stay here more than just 30 days?
Short question, long answer. There's a number of non-immigrant visa options for folks that come into Thailand. And as you say, we oftentimes see people who come in thinking, oh, I'm coming to Thailand for 3 weeks, and that turns into 30 years. You know, I mean, it can happen. It happened to me. Long story short, you've got multiple different non-immigrant visa options, notably retirement visas, obviously, a big one, business visas. You've got family-based visas, the so-called Thai O visa, which is a non-immigrant visa category. O literally stands for other. It's sort of a miscellaneous catch-all category. If you actually read the Act, the Immigration Act of '79, it actually says or other visas by ministerial regulation. Marriage visas fall under that, as do the O retirement visa, for example. And then there are other folks that they just don't quite. Their position is nebulous, and they're here on an O. Some newer additions, and there's also, for example, education visas. Those have kind of fallen by the wayside here recently because they're just not in as wide a use.
I think they've really cracked down on those as well and made it harder to...
Well, there were a lot of them that were issued. If you go back years ago, there was kind of honestly, it was kind of a cottage industry.
Yes.
of basically pretextual visas where, well, I'm going to school to learn this language or whatever, and I've got this visa. There was nothing wrong with it, but they did tighten it up and they narrowed down ED visas. It's a pretty narrow category now. The newcomers are things like the Thailand Elite visa, which essentially you buy your way into that program, and as part of being a member of Thailand Elite, you get a long-term visa. They're generally in 5-year increments, up to 20 years is how the programs work. So, but understand, a lot of retirees ask me this. With Thailand Elite, you pay in the money, so that money's just gone. With retirement, it's sitting in your account, and you're using it as financial evidence to maintain the overall visa. Other than that, I mean, there are other categories. If you do, for example, if you're in business visa category and you spend a long time in Thailand, you can ultimately get permanent residence, and in my case, you can actually get citizenship if you're eventually here long enough and go through all the process.
Okay. And there's the smart visas as well?
Yes, yeah, that is another newcomer. And then smart visa came around, I believe it was 2017.
Yeah.
We didn't see a lot of those in 18. There were only like 24 that were actually applied for, and of that 24, there were less than that were actually issued. Now there's more now, and then on top of that, they're also, in principle, the cabinet has approved some of these new longer-term retirement visas for so-called VIP retirees, digital nomad type folks, and so-called wealthy VIP expats. We have not seen the actual regulatory structure for those visas yet.
They're just good talk.
Yeah.
Let's have a talk about the digital nomads, as they're called,
Yeah.
the people that want to just tap away at a cafe
Sure.
and stay here long term. Trading or whatever they're doing.
Sure.
So it's always been an area that's sort of fallen between the cracks because
Sure.
there's no digital nomad visa.
Exactly.
And the smart visa was thought to be perhaps an entry for them, but hasn't really worked out that way.
As with everything, I mean, good intentions in practice don't really work out exactly the way that people think they will. It's been my experience for a lot of our clients that really do fit into that digital nomad category. A small SME corporation, a Thai company that you set up, and then you're essentially self-employed. For Americans, you can do it under the U.S.-Thai Treaty of Amity, so you can own your company outright. You can use that as a vehicle to maintain your own business visa and work permit status. That, to me, especially for digital nomads, is the most optimal way to do it. Because the thing to remember, Thailand Elite is what it is. It's a good. It can be a good way to stay here, but it is not work authorized. And strictly speaking, even if you're working for something for a concern that's happening offshore, you do technically need work authorization. Now, in this proposed, or whatever you want to call it, this cabinet resolution, they have talked specifically about a visa for digital nomads. So I think they are trying to square that circle, trying to hit those people in that seam.
Yeah.
But again, we saw with the Smart Visa, good intentions may not necessarily practically work out for the better of those folks.
Right, interesting. So if you do want to stay long-term in Thailand, there are options.
Many.
But you just need to sort of speak to either a lawyer or a visa agent to see what's going to work best for you. And as often happens, it's just going to depend in many ways about the person you speak to at the immigration office on the day.
And your circumstances. As well. Yeah.
So that's another one of our look at some legal and visa issues. It's a series we're going to be doing on Thaiger stories. Ben Hart is from Integrity Legal. Ben has got a link underneath this particular video. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we'll see you on another Thaiger Stories next time on the Thaiger.